Hey guys, it's Feature Fridays on Embracing Your Virtue, and I'm your host, Samantha Jasmine. Today's review is a new book. It's hot off the presses. It's called Keeping the Faith: Reflections on Politics and Christianity in the Era of Trump and Beyond. This is a collection of essays from a diverse group of Christian leaders who challenge the narrative that a Christian vote must be a vote for the Republican Party and or Donald Trump. And before I tell you more about this book, let me tell you what it's not. The book is not an endorsement per se of Joe Biden, and it's not a blind allegiance to the Democratic Party. What the book does is it dares to challenge the notion that as Christians, we must align ourselves with a party or a person that because they represent a few things, a few interests that we have, that we must turn a blind eye to all of the things that are done that clearly go against the Word of God. I want to read something to you from the book. It's from Seth Price. And what I appreciate about him and his essay is that he talks about the fact that both parties have evil. Both parties have done things that go against the values of God. And he challenges us to think about a new way of looking at politics. He says this version of partisan politics that we as a church practice is going to kill us and all that we hold dear, because the wages of sin is always death. Jesus called us to be peacemakers who are consumed with seeking wholeness, shalom, justice, and love. It is the definition of the following of the way of Christ to be overwhelmingly and offensively loving, even when it flies in opposition to the partisanship of our politics. You and I must develop a new partisanship, one modeled after the words of Jesus. These authors shed light on the ways in which the church has gotten into bed with a political party at the expense of the Word of God, and it reimagines how the gospel should actually intersect into the world of politics. And finally, I'll leave you a quote from another author of the book, Brandy Miller, who points us back to the cross so eloquently. She says, "One need only look at the cross of Jesus to see how the Trump administration subverts this way of God. Jesus dies at the hand of the government and religious people for claiming to be the God of the marginalized, the destitute, and the left behind. His murder on the cross is a warning of what happens when religious leaders, or the so-called pious, and the powerful align with political power. Jesus demonstrates on the cross that people are not won over through violence or domination, but through radical forgiveness, indiscriminate inclusivity, and enemy love." She further goes on to say, God gives us a litmus test for how we will know what God Shalom has come. It is that the orphan, the widow, and the foreigner are taken care of. In other words, it is not those with political power who are the test of God's peace, but the most marginalized in a society. Folks, I think in the midst of this ugly election season, this is the perfect book to help us to recenter on what's really important, to recenter our politics around the actual Word of God, and to help us to dig deep in our hearts and think about what we're doing. Are we trading the values and the very heart of God to protect ourselves and our particular way of life so that we don't have to sell a cake to an LBG wedding, so that we don't have to, so that we cannot be persecuted as a church? Like, aren't we supposed to be persecuted? Didn't Jesus say they're gonna hate us because they hated him? Like, that just comes with the territory. So are we fighting against the very things that Jesus said would happen, the very things that should be happening for our own protection and comfort? And this is not in the book. This is just Sam rambling now. Anyway, read the book. It's a great book. I think even if you identify as a Republican, I still encourage you, read the book. It's good just to be challenged and just to make sure that you are aligning yourself with truth. You can buy it on Amazon, get the Kindle edition. You can get the paperback. The link is down below. Follow me, guys, on all my social media channels, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Hit that notification so you'll see it when it drops first. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.